Here we have the brand new Hyundai Ioniq 9. Based on the EV9 in some ways, it is the sibling to that, but here of course in the very unique exterior that is Hyundai's new design language. You can see how soft and how big it is. This is a huge car, 7 seats, possibly 6 seats, which I'll talk about later on. But follow on when I talk about all the new things that is with this new Ioniq 9, the design, the tech, the charging, the battery and all of that. So we start here in the front, and you can see that here there are some flaps that are now closed, but they can open up to give some cooling, but also to improve the aerodynamics. You can see the pixelated LED headlights here in the front, which is very reminiscent of the Ioniq 5, for example. You can see the green paint, which I hope people here in Scandinavia, in Northern Europe, will choose something a little bit more fun than the regular grey, white and black. Tires here are 21 inch. This comes with the calligraphy edition, so you have essential, advanced and calligraphy. And calligraphy gives you these 21 inch, but you can see that you have a lot of sidewall. How that translates into the driving experience we'll talk about later, of course. The car is over 5 meters long. The wheelbase is over 3 meters. You can see how far the front wheels are to the front of the car. If you follow a little bit to the rear here, you can see the design language is quite unique. Not my favorite perhaps, but this horizontal line that breaks up the wheel arches. The wheel arches are not protruding that much, quite flat in that regard, and you can see how aerodynamic this car is. Flows backwards or slopes very much to the rear here, which gives it a lot of good aerodynamics. I think the rear looks even cooler than the front, and it frames the rear quite nicely and gives it a very unique rear here. So this is the 7-seater. So if the rear seats are folded up, the third row of seats, you have just over 300 liters of storage space. If you fold down the third row, you have over 900, and if you fold down the second row, you have close to 2,500 liters of storage space. So this is a car that you can use for everything, for taking your kids to soccer practice, to school, to haul big things. You can even throw in a bicycle, even a canoe if you absolutely need to. But it is a very, very usable car, but also a very luxurious car with all the tech, the features, the gadgets that you may need in a car that is as upscale as this one. And it is also electric. So we need to talk about the specifications of the new Ioniq 9. The specs of the new Ioniq 9. So the battery in the Ioniq 9 compared to the EV9 is a little bit different. So this is about 10 kWh more. The charging speed was not talked about that much. We'll guess around 250 kilowatt, because that is the max speed of the EV9, but the charging speed from 10 to 80% in about 24 minutes, which is fast for this size of battery. And of course you have slow charging as well, 11 kilowatt. I would like 22, but it is what it is. This is 800 volt architecture. Think about that as well, because when you compare it to the charging places, they can have 400, this has 800, things get overheated, it's not always compatible. So we'll see in the future what the actual charging speed is. And we are now inside, sitting in these phenomenal seats. They are quite huggy on the sides up here, but very open towards the thigh here. And this is of course the calligraphy, which gives you Napa leather. The standard or the base level gives you fabric, and then you have the advanced, which gives you regular leather. With the calligraphy you can also spec it out with the panoramic sunroof, which is always nice. The steering wheel is very reminiscent of previous Ioniqs, for example the Ioniq 5, with buttons everywhere, especially this new updated Island 2.0, which in this spec you cannot move it forward and backwards. You can open it like this, and you can even open it on the back side as well. You have inductive charging, USB-C plugs. Every single USB-C plug produces 100 watts, and that is quite impressive. You have a UV-C button here, which is supposed to kill all the bacteria if you have a phone here or something. That's a gimmick, but it is something that you can use. I talked about that this was a calligraphy. I can see that on the side here. You have the calligraphy naming and some unique detail here. Quite a lot of horizontal design, but with soft flowing lines. No creases or sharp angles, which I like. This is smooth, soft buttons, usable. Yes, the infotainment system is similar or almost similar to the previous Ioniq 5s, for example, and you are recognizing it if you have driven a Kia as well. The range of this car, talk about it very quickly, it's over 600 kilometers, and it doesn't matter which specification you are choosing, the rear-wheel drive only, the all-wheel drive, or this all-wheel drive performance, which gives you over 400 horsepower. And the rear-wheel drive only gives you 218, the all-wheel drive gives you 350. What's there more to talk about? I really like that they have no piano black plastic. This is silver plastic, which, yeah, it's plastic, but everything feels very well built, very nice put together. There's some metal here as well that breaks everything up with the dark design, some metal, and then some white here on the side. Yeah, this might look a little bit roundish, a little bit tacky, and then you have some massage seats, which are both heated and cooled. Nice design. The door is very, very heavy. You have a lot of extra sound insulation. The side windows are double laminated. They've worked a lot with the A-pillar, with insulating the engines, the gearbox, things like that, to make it even quieter for an electric car. So they've worked a lot with improving the quality, buttons, making this feel like an upscale interior. And in the second row of seats, and I have a lever here on the sides, which makes it possible to change the angle, and I mean change the angle a lot. There's also a bar underneath to move the entire seat, like that's 2-3 decimeters, so you can see how much space I'm having here in the back. So it can even feel like you're sitting here in real luxury. You have quite a nice design of the individual climate control here in the back. You have, of course, some blinds, a huge panoramic sunroof, and great visibility all around with a huge windscreen in the front, the Napa lever, the armrest with 2 cup holders. But let's talk about the rear seating space. And let's try the third row of seat, and it's fairly easy to get in with the opening here, but you just move the seat backwards, and that's where the limit is for my knees, which means that you have to work a little bit with the seat here in the front. It's not the easiest, maybe it's easier. Well, I do fit. Of course, my lower thigh support is minimal at best, and the bench of itself is not that long. You have an armrest, 2 cup holders, you can move the seat forward and backward, so it's electrically operated, which I really, really like. You have a great visibility out here. I absolutely love it, and together with the panoramic sunroof really, really helps. You have a light here as well, and some climate control, or not climate control, but an air vent to keep you cool. So for what it is, a third row, it's quite decent. I even have a USB-C plug. First and foremost, it is a big car outside, and you feel it when you drive it as well. It's wide, and you sit fairly high up, but you do see the entire bonnet. It feels muscular, but also relaxing. There's a mix of everything. There's a lot of things going on here. But we're driving in some more suburbs right now, feeling some potholes, some undulations, and it feels like a very mature car. The way it handles the unevenness, the steering, the quietness, which Hyundai has worked a lot on. We had a presentation just before we started driving the car about Hyundai engineers, fixing all the things, making it more quiet, a lot of design choices to make it as quiet as possible, basically. Now we're powering out. Okay, so the throttle response, it feels a lot like a rubber band. So right now I'm applying max throttle, and that was like 1, and then we had some electrical warnings. It feels a lot like a rubber band effect. The max throttle is applied 1 or 2 seconds after I've applied max throttle. So I think that has a lot to do with the way this driving mode is set up. So let's switch it over from normal to sport. And that is what you expect the car to behave. You are applying max throttle and you get max throttle. But I do absolutely love the way the normal driving mode is designed and engineered. It's much smoother, it's much more relaxed, and even though this has regular coils and springs, it feels very smooth. So a base price for the rear wheel drive only is about 750,000 Swedish kronor, just around 73,000 euros. I did a quick search on Google for the Kia EV9, which, truth be told, is one of the closest competitors to this one. And that starts at around 700,000 Swedish kronor or 68,000 euros. So there is a difference. Is it substantial enough for you to consider one or the other? Well, you should not forget that this 9 has a battery that is about 10 kilowatt hour bigger. But will that sway you one way or the other? I think you will often think of the price. And of course, if you're leasing it, the extra options, the looks, and of course a little bit also about the brand identity. What does Hyundai stand for? What does Kia stand for? But turning it into a corner here, yeah, you directly feel the understeer, or hear the understeer as well. And the weight as well, you sit high up. Of course the battery is low down, but it's phenomenally damped. The way it handles the unevenness, the broken roads, the broken tarmac. Can be a little bit floaty, especially when driving a little bit more quickly. And of course the steering is, yeah, it's heavy, but in the same time light. And you feel the body roll in it. But I think that is what I want a car like this to be set up like. It is not a performance car, a performance Hyundai. And if Hyundai would make this into a performance car, you would know it. The way that you have Ioniq 5N, for example. There's nothing really to complain about, but there's no real highlights. But you do have enough power out of the corners. If there's one major thing that I didn't really like, was the feedback from when you are braking, especially during hard braking. Dosing the brake pedal was a little bit difficult, I think.